No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for August 7th, 2023. We are coming off the Summerslam 2023 premium live event that was in Detroit. I gave my thoughts on the No DQ review. Check out the No DQ review if you missed it. It is on the No DQ YouTube channel at youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Now, with that being said, let's get into this recap. Shout out to everybody watching this. Much love and appreciation to all of you out there. We opened up the show with a video package highlighting the big moments from SummerSlam. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett on commentary. WWE shaking up the commentary teams a little bit. Cole and Barrett are on Raw now. Cole is on SmackDown as well with Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves. I like the change because I think that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett, they are the better announced team, and Raw is a 3-hour show. Michael Cole is a seasoned veteran on commentary. I think he is best off being on Raw. As for SmackDown, Kevin Patrick, he's not that good, but maybe the idea is that with Michael Cole guiding him, Kevin Patrick can get better over time. Maybe that's what they're thinking here. A lot of work for Michael Cole. He's going to be commentating 5 hours of wrestling every single week. I hope they're bumping his pay. Michael Cole definitely deserves a pay raise for doing this extra work. The first hour of Raw was also commercial free. I did not know they were doing this, but hey, I'll take it, right? It's always a nice change of pace. We opened up the show with Cody Rhodes coming off his victory over Brock Lesnar. It was one thing for him to survive Lesnar, but he could not imagine what happened after the match when Lesnar shook his hand. Cody's mom told him that that was Brock Lesnar acknowledging Cody Rhodes. A little clue for the future, perhaps. Cody feels now that he can beat anybody in the world. And of course, that led to the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins, coming out there. A couple months back, it was Cody coming out there during a Rollins promo. So Rollins felt like he was going to return the favor. He wanted a match with Cody, but then Judgment Day showed up. They're really teasing Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, and we're not getting it. I wonder if that's something that might happen before WrestleMania, because they've teased it twice now and it's been interrupted. Judgment Day said that they run the show. Seth Rollins is not going to dictate what happens with the titles. Finn Balor ended up showing up and attacking Seth Rollins. Sami Zayn ran down to make the save. And then Cody Rhodes proposed a 6-man tag team match, and it was made official for the main event spot. Good segment here to open up the show, establish the main event. Backstage, Adam Pearce was talking with Matt Riddle, Chad Gable, Ricochet, and Tommaso Ciampa. He talked about these guys being on a little bit of a downturn, and he felt like he wanted to give them an opportunity. 4-way match with the winner challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. They all cut brief promos, and then we had our 4-way match, which was a hell of a match for TV matches, and it was commercial free, which made it even better. Smart idea to put this match on during the commercial free hour. Now, this week's Raw was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is Chad Gable's hometown. Normally, in the world of WWE, that means the hometown boy is losing. He was massively over with the fans, and he really got to shine in this match. There was a Tower of Doom spot they did in the corner where you had Gable German suplexing basically the other three guys, all of them at the same time. Ricochet took a crazy bump. He was at the top of this stack. And we got "This is awesome" chants from the fans. You had Gable breaking up Riddle's Bo Derek with a flying headbutt. And then Gable hit the German suplex move that he calls Chaos Theory on Ciampa and got the 1-2-3 victory. Big win here for Gable in his hometown. Now you guys know for sure. I mean, I shouldn't say that 100%, but I mean, the fact that Gable won in his hometown tells me that Vince had nothing to do with this show, because Vince's attitude is that when the hometown guy loses, it builds him up. It adds to the story so he can get revenge next time. It builds up heat. That's Vince's attitude. And we all think to ourselves, well, how about just creating a feel-good moment for the fans and letting the hometown fans enjoy their guy winning? So next time WWE comes to their town, they're going to want to buy tickets. Just seems like smart business. Anyways, Gable had a big celebration with his young son. Like, he got this whole big elaborate win, maybe the biggest win of his career. And I think we're all loving to see it. I hate to say this because I'd love to see Gable get a big push, but I don't think he's beating Gunther unless they decide to delay this match for a month. The thing is, I think that Gunther doesn't break Honky Tonk Man's record until after Payback. Unfortunately, that seems to indicate to me that we are not going to get a title change here. But man, Gable is hot right now, and this really elevated his stock a lot on this show. We had Sami Zayn backstage. He's sick of Judgment Day. They injured Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins were there. They were not getting along too much, and Zayn was trying to calm them down. Not a whole lot of success, though. We had a Bloodline video package from SummerSlam, even though we had the highlights shown earlier. I mean, I guess you got to show it again because it's the Bloodline, right? Miz was backstage, and he had to wait for his photo shoot because SmackDown's LA Knight, was in the middle of a photo shoot. Why he's on Raw, I have no idea, but hey, we've all wanted the LA Knight push. We're getting the LA Knight push. He's on Raw now. And Wade Barrett said, when you win the Slim Jim Battle Royal, you can go wherever you want. Oh, there you go. Hey, there's something right there they could have done for the Battle Royal. They could have said that the winner of the Slim Jim Battle Royal can appear on both shows, and that's their prize for winning. They get to be on both shows, and they get double the pay. Like in kayfabe terms, they could have said something like that. But yeah, LA Knight's on Raw. Maybe he's moving to Raw. I don't know. Might be a good idea for him. We'll talk more about LA Knight in a few moments here. We had Shinsuke Nakamura versus big Bronson Reed. Bronson was mocking the come on that Nakamura does, the taunt. Bronson dominated for a good amount of the match. And at 9:54, we got our first commercial break. They said the first hour was commercial free. It was only 9 minutes and 54 seconds, you bastards. Anyways, after commercial, Reed kept trying to put away, Zayn, put away Nakamura. Nakamura kept kicking out. He stayed in the fight, and then Reed missed the tsunami. Nakamura hit not one, but two Kinshasas to pick up the victory over a very game Bronson Reed. Now, Walter Cruz, who is now known as the Rage of Wrestling, this is an interesting gimmick, says, who did Big Bronson piss off to lose to Shin? I don't think he pissed off anybody. I think WWE has some plans for Shinsuke Nakamura. More on that in just a little bit. Big Braun. That's right. Bronson Reed at least did not have the scenario where he hit the tsunami and Nakamura kicked out. His finisher was still protected. Good match here for what it was, building up Nakamura, and we'll get to that more later as far as what's going on with Nakamura. Backstage, the trainer was talking to Adam Pearce. Raquel was there. She's still not cleared, and she was very upset. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were there to try and cheer her up and motivate her. We had Maxine Dupree backstage, and we had Ludwig Kaiser interrupting the segment, and he called Otis a big, disgusting freak, got slapped, and then Otis showed up and challenged Kaiser to a match later on in the show. Becky Lynch came to the ring for a promo to hype up her match with Trish Stratus on next week's Raw. She said that Zoey Stark will be banned from ringside. So, of course, that led to Zoey Stark coming out there. She said Becky is scared of her. And Becky responded by saying that Zoey could be fighting for a world title, but instead she's playing second fiddle to Trish Stratus. Zoey responded by saying she's nobody's second fiddle. She's the fastest rising star in WWE, and she's the baddest. And that led to Shayna Basler coming out. Not happy about the baddest line because she's the one that drove Ronda Rousey out of WWE. Crowd chanted, "Thank you, Shayna," and things were getting a bit heated between Zoey Stark and Shayna Baszler, so Becky Lynch proposed a match. Adam Pearce came out there, said it was a great idea, and we did have that match. More on that in a minute. JD McDonough is back. He was backstage with Finn Balor. Damian Priest showed up and needed to talk. Upset, trying to work things out with Balor. Wanted to talk in private, but Balor said whatever Priest wants to say, he could say it in front of JD McDonough. So Priest started talking about their issues, and Priest said that even with his help, Balor still lost to Rollins. And Balor said maybe that was because of Priest. Priest was the reason he lost. Rhea Ripley showed up, tried to calm things down, and then JD brought up how maybe this briefcase has been causing the problem between them, and perhaps they should get rid of it. JD left, and Balor walked away with JD. So the plot thickens here with JD. I guess he's back in the mix with this storyline, and we'll see where they go with it. D. Martin Fifth sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, seeing Shayna in the same ring with Becky brings back a flashback. It was Shayna that bit Becky in the back of the neck, drawing blood in 2020. Yes, and there's definitely the history between them. More on that here in just a moment. They had their match at WrestleMania 36 with no fans. By the way, if you're watching this live and you're a newcomer, thank you for watching. If you're liking the video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and spread the word. Tell a friend about the YouTube channel. Subscribe. Anything you can to spread word of mouth would be very much appreciated. Now, let's get to our next segment, which was Shayna Baszler versus Zoey Stark. Becky Lynch was out there drinking lemonade. Now, this was an inside joke. I mean, if you follow Twitter, and X, you're on there. Becky Lynch over the weekend posted a picture of herself with a lemon. She had no match for SummerSlam. When life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. So that was the joke. She was out there drinking lemonade to play off of that. Kind of silly if you ask me, but whatever. We had this match here between Basler and Stark. Crowd was kind of dead for it. Did not really care too much about it, but they were trying, and there was a light Shayna chant. It did go back and forth, and of course he had Becky Lynch getting involved when she's out there at ringside. You had Zoey getting in Becky's face, and then Becky stood up. Zoey was a bit distracted. Basler took advantage of it and picked up the win. Basler won with the World's Baddest Slam, which is basically Ronda Rousey's Piper's Pit. I guess now Shayna has inherited that move. Pretty much tells you that Ronda is in fact done now that Shayna is using her move. We had a backstage segment where Sami Zayn had been attacked by JD McDonough, and Sami Zayn's elbow was all messed up, looked like it was dislocated. Think of John Cena in 2013 around SummerSlam when he had that elbow issue. Basically, this was what was going on with Sami Zayn. We then had Otis versus Ludwig Kaiser. And we had a pretty decent match here, although the usual outside interference. You had Maxine Dupree getting on the apron to help out Otis. Then Vinci came down. Otis suplexed him into the ring. And then Gunther showed up while Kaiser was distracting the referee. And we had Kaiser picking up the victory here. Then it was 3-on-1 after the match. Chad Gable ran back down to make the save. Crowd was chanting for Gable. It's too bad that they couldn't have done Gable versus Gunther in Minneapolis. The heat would be unreal. But, this was a really good show for Chad Gable. Like I said, his stock basically got elevated here big time. Backstage, Seth Rollins wasn't sure what was going to happen with Sami Zayn being attacked. Doesn't know if he can trust Cody 2-on-3 in the main event. And that's when Shinsuke Nakamura showed up and volunteered to be the new third man in the match. And stay tuned. There's more of this. We had one of the most interesting segments of the show, maybe the most interesting segment. The Miz came down to the ring for a promo. He said that LA Knight never shook his hand. And he's tired of the lack of respect. This was a callback to when Miz first got into wrestling and nobody respected him and they kicked him out of the locker room. LA Knight, of course, showed up. I mean, he came to Raw, might as well come out there in front of the fans. And he did offer a handshake, but the Miz said no. Miz said that LA Knight is a flash in the pan, a flavor of the month. The fans are going to love him for 5 months, and then they're going to lose interest. That was brutal. That was a brutal line there. I hope it's not true, but, you never know in the world of WWE. These things do happen. And then he had another pretty brutal line when he said that LA Knight is just an attitude era fanboy playing cosplay in his ring. Damn. That was quite the line there as well. Crowd started chanting tiny balls, and Miz asked, what the hell has LA Knight been doing for the past 20 years. LA Knight responded by saying that he's been clawing and scratching. He's been becoming a dangerous man, while Miz is a guy that has been playing it safe for 20 years. WWE bet on the wrong horse. And he talked about how Miz got kicked out of the locker room, while LA Knight is a guy that people aren't going to mess with. Miz got angry about this, said he's the main event. LA Knight is not on his level. And LA Knight said Miz should prove him wrong. Miz attempted a cheap shot, but LA Knight countered, hit the skull-crushing finale with the blunt force trauma. And then as Miz was laid out, LA Knight shook his hand. Very intriguing segment here with these guys. LA Knight did butcher one line. He meant to say that Miz's career has gone in the toilet, but he started to say his toilet, but then he corrected himself right away. Other than that, really strong promo here, and Miz was great as usual. Got a lot of people buzzing, and I liked it because they did like a worked shoot in a way, bringing up real life stuff and implementing it into the promo work. I'm very interested in where this is going, but I'm also wondering, is LA Knight moving to Raw now? Maybe he is. I think it's a good move if he does it. I would have liked to have seen him go after Austin Theory, but maybe have him go after Gunther instead. Maybe have him feud with The Miz for a while and then challenge for the IC title. I mean, beating Austin Theory at this point really doesn't mean that much. But if they really wanted to push LA Knight, what if he's the guy that beats Gunther? We'll have to wait and see where they go with this. We had a Viking Raiders Open Challenge, and it was answered by the returning New Day. Kofi Kingston is back from his injury. He was out of action, ankle injury, for about 5 months. I think March was when he got hurt. Good to see him and Xavier Woods back. Gives the tag division a little bit more life. You had Valhalla out there interfering, and it was back and forth. It was definitely a competitive match. Ivar came off the top with the big splash, but Xavier kicked out, and then Kofi got the hot tag, boom drop, went for the Trouble in Paradise, the tip, but could not hit it on his first attempt. He hit the SOS, Ivar kicked out, and then Xavier Woods tagged back in. Kofi finally hit the tip, the Trouble in Paradise, went over the top with a dive to Eric, and then Xavier finished off Ivar with the flying elbow drop. New Day picks up the win here. Good match. And then backstage, Shayna Basler confronted Becky Lynch, said she doesn't need Becky's help, and she has a list of scores she wants to settle, and she's coming for the man sooner than later. And Becky had no problem with that, said she's not a hard person to find. The New Day were also interviewed backstage, and they were all excited, especially Kofi. Happy to be back. Said they are the gods of the tag team division, and they vowed to become the next WWE Tag Team Champions. They did announce that Sonya Deville is injured, torn ACL, which really sucks. I mean, the tag team division for the women, it's cursed, man. These titles are cursed. And I just feel so bad for Sonya because this was her first championship in WWE, and she's finally getting in a significant role, and then she gets hurt. Really unfortunate. They did not definitively say anything. Michael Cole basically said that Hopefully soon we'll find out who's going to be the next tag team champion. So I presume Sonya and Chelsea Green are being stripped of the titles. I'd rather they just give Chelsea a new partner and say they're the tag team champions rather than strip the champions yet again. It's just really unfortunate. Like they can't catch a break with the tag team division right now for the women. This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, open challenge is lazy writing, no story for matches. Well, I think the idea was to just reintroduce the New Day. Like they could say, oh, it's the Viking Raiders versus the New Day. But I think they wanted the surprise pop. So they're like, Viking Raiders versus a mystery team, open challenge. Like in this instance, I think it made sense for a returning team to maximize that pop as opposed to just, oh, New Day's coming back tonight versus Viking Raiders. You know what I mean? I had no issue with it on this particular night. We had Judgment Day coming to the ring for the main event, but then Raquel showed up, attacked Rhea Ripley. You had officials coming down. Michael Cole brought up how Raquel wants Payback. Payback is coming up next month, so I think that means we're going to get Raquel versus Rhea Ripley at Payback. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell were out there, and Rhea threw them down, and then they fought back and started attacking Rhea Ripley. I guess this means Candice is going to put over Rhea en route to the pay-per-view, and probably Indy Hartwell as well. And then Raquel will have to make the hero save, and that'll continue to build up the match for Payback. We finally had our match. Once everything was calmed down, Rhea Ripley was still out there for the main event. Priest tagged himself in when Balor was in there, teasing dissension with them. Dominic had to tag in and try and calm everything down, and they did get it together. Judgment Day was in control here. They were doing well for a while. Crowd was chanting, Dom's a loser. Rhea Ripley was taking cheap shots. Cody Rhodes eventually got the hot tag. Things started to break down. Priest hit Cody in the back with the briefcase while the referee was distracted. Sami Zayn then showed up. His elbow was taped up. He attacked Damian Priest. Rollins then kicked the briefcase into Finn Balor's face. The briefcase once again screwing over Finn Balor. Cody Rhodes hit the crossroads, got the 1-2-3 victory. Good guys win. And then after the match, things were getting a bit heated between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, but Sami Zayn was the peacemaker. He raised their hands. They finally shook hands. And just as we thought Raw was going off the air with a happy ending, Kinshasa to Seth Rollins out of nowhere. Heel turn officially for Nakamura. It felt like he was going heel a few weeks ago, and then this week he was acting like a babyface for the match with Bronson Reed, and that explains the win over Reed. They're setting up Nakamura for Seth Rollins in a world title match, which makes sense at the end of the day. Now, of course, you could say, what about Bronson Reed? They've been trying to push Nakamura since he moved to Raw, and I guess they want to give him one more solid run in the main event against Seth Rollins. I liked the turn at the end. It was a cliffhanger, and you guys know I'm a big fan of cliffhangers. I like when they do something at the end to hook you for the next show, and now I want to see the follow-up to this. Well done, WWE. I liked the ending, and I like Nakamura getting an opportunity at Seth Rollins. And he does a good job as a heel. I'm going to miss people singing a song and everything, but this gives Nakamura an opportunity to get one more world title match before he calls it a career. Rage of Wrestling, a.k.a. Walter Cruz, sent in a $5 super chat, says, as soon as I saw Shin take Sami Zayn's spot, I called it. He's going heel and wants a title shot. He's just a filler opponent for Sammy, though. Sorry to say. I mean, you're probably right. I do not see Nakamura winning that world title. But hey, he gets one more run. I mean, who knows how much longer Nakamura is going to be wrestling in WWE. Like, he's not the youngest guy on the roster. And at least he gets one more solid run here before he starts winding down his career. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, might be time to pour one out for Balor soon. Well, you got the whole JD McDonough thing right now, and I think that that's going to be interesting to see how that plays into the Judgment Day storyline. And what's going to happen? Is Balor going to side with JD? Are they going to kick out Damian Priest? Like, there's a lot of ways this can go now. So I'm definitely intrigued by where that's going. Joe sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Joe. I appreciate it very much. Says, Raw has too many tag team main events. Also, what current lady wrestler do you find the most attractive? Been a fan for 15 plus years. Thanks for all the work you do. I appreciate it very much, Joe, like I said. And I agree about the frequent tag team main events, but it's a way to get everybody on the show. Even though you have a 3-hour show, you got plenty of time. But I feel like they do a lot of these tag matches just because it's a convenient way of building up feuds. Like you can build up 2 feuds at the same time if you do a tag team match. And we've seen it so many times. Like if there's 2 main event matches for a premium live event, then you can combine those 2 matches with a tag team match leading up to it. They do it all the time. It's just standard booking. I would say Rhea Ripley right now. Like, it's just everything about her, just her whole presence. I mean, she's great. Everything about Rhea Ripley, she's nailing it. So thank you guys so much for watching tonight. I very much enjoyed Raw. I would give the show a B+. Like, it was a really solid Raw coming off of SummerSlam, and we got the Nakamura turn. We got LA Knight and the Miz. We got New Day back. Like, it felt fresh. It didn't feel like the same old Raw, and I'm looking forward to next week's show. I appreciate the viewership and support this week. And if you enjoyed the video, like I said, tell a friend, spread the word. It's going to be a busy month here in August. We got All In coming up at Wembley Stadium. And then September, we got Payback and All Out. It's going to be a busy month coming up here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. So stay tuned. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Have a great night, everyone, and I will see you all next time.